reasons. There is a kind of motive for this program were the words of our beloved President Zelensky, that he did not come here to play cards at a meeting with our beloved President Trump. And this just simply made me really wonder, what is it really about? How come? That's why today I indeed propose. And I've been jotting down many things since Friday, meaning I've thought it through and through. Therefore, I propose to have a calm conversation with you, where you find it appropriate, you comment, argue, deny, confirm. In general, you play along with me. Yes, we are not going anywhere, nowhere. So shall we start? Yes, let's go. According to some traditions in various cultures, the region of Epirus, that our life, a game, good and evil are just dreams. A true honest tale for the common folk. Who is right, who is happy here. Today it's you, and tomorrow it's me. So stop the struggle, seize their luck, let the loser cry, cursing their fate. It's clear that this is undoubtedly a quote from Tchaikovsky's opera The Queen of Spades, Hermann's aria. Although it is indeed based on Pushkin's work, but in fact, Pyotr Ilyich was not inclined to create it. There's nothing theatrical there. And then his younger brother wrote the libretto. And these lines are modest, or Tchaikovsky, librettist, and the author of the music. So when they talk about the Queen of Spades, they refer to the music because the libretto was by his younger brother. Yes, and actually pay attention to these lines, actually. So give up the struggle, seize the moment of luck. Yes? So look, there is a struggle where you are in opposition, and there is a game where luck works. And this moment where people get so carried away with the simple and foolish that they think they need to shake their heads or that they need to think about fighting.
It is especially felt on the field of Waterloo. Napoleon.
But there are moments when, firstly, you must surrender to the will of luck, but only if you know how to play at least a little. Why do I have such an attitude towards the game exactly? Because the game sometimes allows you to obtain resources that you would never, under any circumstances, get through struggle, war, or revolution. Where does this power of the game come from? I was pondering this while writing some parts of my new book, Overcoming Philosophy. I was thinking, where does such power come from? And it turned out, after much contemplation, in my deep reflections and considerations, I came to the realization that struck me profoundly, that the game, in general, is the penetration of many dimensions here. They influence us in this way. What is a game? It is the relationship of certainties from which uncertainty arises or from which some chaos is generated, which is contained in neither of the certainties. When we confront two certainties, they begin to relate to each other in some way. Something emerges that is not present in the certainties themselves. And in the game, you can literally slip into many dimensions, into chaos itself, beyond, well, anywhere. Even if it's a game with rules, at some point it may turn out that you go beyond the rules or change the rules. Or you use these rules in such a way that there is no clear understanding of whether it's within the rules or not. That is, there are cases in the game where, without formally breaking the rules, you go far beyond those rules. This is indeed the wholeness of the game. And this is indeed exactly what surprised me, and I tried to think about the game on a larger scale. On a more expansive scale, in a broader perspective, of course, in the context of the Russia-Ukraine war. Look, even if we take the already mentioned Pushkin and Lermontov and the card players, this is well known from their biographies. And they wrote about card games such as More Than Once. And they played themselves. At the same time, neither Shevchenko nor Franco were card players. Shevchenko didn't like cards at all, for the simple reason that his fate was gambled away in a card game. Well, there was a lottery, but the lottery itself was played out as a card game. And Shevchenko didn't like cards throughout his life for two reasons. Firstly, because of the scratchiness. And secondly, because it was genuinely unpleasant for him, because his fate was gambled away in a card game. And Franco simply didn't like cards. Well, there are just a few sort of idle opinions. I've read them, but I won't even voice them because they don't seem, well, close to reality to me. So let's talk about Marburg. Indeed, most people are boring. They play games that follow the rules. Even if very few people play games without rules. They are considered incomprehensible, murky, risky, adventurers, or even criminals. Playing with the only meaning of life, which is not subject to any evaluation and has no measure. Players set their own standards of greatness. Moreover, playing is the best way of work and leisure for freethinkers and dissenters. And there is indeed an extremely significant injustice. It is of unclear origins. Some nations indeed love games, some do not. And indeed, men are more players than women. Why? At least since the emancipation of women in the second half of the 20th century, it is unclear why in many games the majority are men. No one puts such obstacles for women. They don't go. They don't like it. Olya and I talked about this. She says there are types of games where in many cases women are better than men, or where they are the majority. Matrimonial sexual games. Probably. But we must consider that women view this through their own perspective, their own rules. So women think that if a woman uses her various tricks, then it's a game. They don't consider that men also have their own tricks, and that's a game too. So it is said that women, in general, it's difficult to find those games where there are more women. Why is that? It's unclear. It seems like perhaps diversity is something that interests everyone, right? Everyone is curious. But it seems not. Just like some groups indeed like to play, some don't. Yes, children play more. And as adults grow older, they tend to play less. And children play games with rules, games without rules. Adults kind of teach them to play by the rules and so on. So, there are many, many injustices in games. Well, let's do a quick warm-up with you.
Women like Maria Tanovitskaya drink. And in Agre, there are many unpredictabilities, while women tend to prefer predictability.
And why? It's clear, I think so too. Well, it's clear, but why?
Because a woman is already somewhat connected with reproductive function. One.
That is, unwanted pregnancy, undesirable.
Through the prism of this niche, one could say that everything about a woman is a mystery, and there is one solution: pregnancy. That is, through this function, the female world is revealed, because everything is built around it, even if a woman gives birth. And therefore, indeed, everything related to reproductive function involves more responsibility. It provides efficiency to effectively play its role.
They could be players because, perhaps you see, I don't know actually, there's no feminine form for player. It's he, yes, and how women.
Well, being child-free is a choice.
Yes, as I said, I can think in this direction, but I can't understand why it is so. Why do women love normativity, predictability? There's a question here.